welcome back to Mixed Media Live. We are here maybe just a touch late, but hopefully there will be no more technical issues to plague us tonight. Usually when it starts off this way, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the night, but we're gonna hope that everything goes smoothly from here on out. But before we continue, we should introduce ourselves. So my name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media composer. Wow, I'm Ben now. I don't know how that happened. Brain scramble. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur based out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania. And I own a company called Ariella. Oh, I have you muted, Ben. Hold on. Oh. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Ben Costello, and I'm actually a flute player and media composer, unlike Irving.
Yes.
And my name is Nathan Nestor. I'm a 3D modeler and a video game developer.
Sweet. And yeah, we are Mixed Media. We are your favorite weekly hosts for your favorite weekly podcast, live stream podcast. And what we do is we talk about pretty much anything related to film, music, and gaming. However, we talk about a wide spectrum within those things, whether it's history, pop culture, reviews, interviews, you name it. You could find anything you could possibly think of in our vast catalog of stuff, including a bunch of random other stuff too, that aren't even related to those three things. So you can go check out our deep catalog by clicking our little channel icon when the show is over, so you can find your favorite episode. There is one. Like, there's going to be one where you're like, wow, I really appreciated all the information shared in here, or I really appreciated the discussion that was had. So go check that out. And got to give an awesome shout out to our 4 local supporters. That's 99 Crime, K Kairos, Alex Egbert, and actually that's it, 3, right? Yes, our 3 local supporters, and you can join them at mixedmedia.locals.com.
I don't know if I...
Oh, it is 4. Post. Yes, Post. Post, we missed you, by the way. I feel like he's kind of disappears randomly. But yeah, 4 local supporters. You can you can go to mixedmedia.locals.com if you want to join them. It's still $3 a month because I still forgot to change the actual thing from the Black Friday sale. So if you want Black Friday prices on our exclusive access, you can go to mixedmedia.locals.com. And yeah, you can check out the perks for all that kind of stuff there. We have a locals chat on Discord. We've got a few other cool Discord stuff that only locals members can see, as well as all the other perks, including getting access to drawing on this live whiteboard. This thing right here on the side of the screen is a live whiteboard that you can draw on from any device if you want. If you go to mixedmedia.locals.com, it's pretty cool. All right, with that out of the way, how are your guys' weeks?
Been good. I've been working on the website. I was trying to see if I could get it on like an actual like domain name, so I could like type it in and go to it today. But I forgot we had the podcast today, so I don't have time for that. I played Alfonso with you for the first time this week, so that was good.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I don't know, nothing terribly notable for me. Sorry if I'm like looking down a lot. I realize that this thing that I'm playing with, that I finally figured out how to access one final feature on it, so I'm trying to quickly write down some numbers for everything I'm looking at. So I apologize.
No worries.
I want to make what I'm saying more complete. So yeah.
Cool. For me, let's see. What's been going on? I've been finishing a lot of random work that I've been trying to finish out from last year, trying to start with a sort of clean slate this year, as I've said before, and that's going pretty well. One of those projects is a project that I did, which was digitally preserving Dealey Plaza. My speech at the Natural Conference has finally been published. It took a little while, but it's on my website, or on that project's website, which I run. Or actually, let me rephrase that, because I don't want to get in trouble. I run this website that is not actually the project's website. It is a website that can help you with the project, if that makes sense. So you can go to dealeyplaza.info. If you go to dealeyplaza.info and you want to learn about the the sort of work I did to preserve Dealey Plaza for future study. I already talked to people who are interested in acoustic analysis and ballistic analysis and animation for documentaries and all this kind of crazy stuff that's happening still with the JFK assassination. You can go to dealeyplaza.info and you can check out, I think there's like a page dedicated to the project on there where my little speech happened at the national conference in November. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Little plug. And the project's going to come out in full probably within like 2 months or so. There's some technical back end that needs to be resolved with the nonprofit that's hosting it on their site, and I've got a few documents to write up, but it's going pretty well.
Nice. And pre-order the Kappa wait, you spelled your company wrong?
No way.
Oh, you didn't? No, it's already okay. Never mind. I don't know why okay. Maybe I had dyslexia moment. Pre-order the Kappa. Wait. Oh no, wait.
Did I spell my?
Has it always been spelled that way? Ariella.
Let me go to the website.
I don't know how I would think it would be spelled. I don't know why. I don't know why it looks wrong to me suddenly, even though I've been looking at this forever.
Let me see here. See the pop-up
be right.
come up.
I could just be definitely.
Oh yeah, that's correct. Tripping. That's correct.
Okay, Kappa Ariella Dealey Plaza digital twin.
Yes,
nice.
Exactly. Yes,
it's free actually. It says
the pre-order is free. Like pre-ordering is a free process.
Oh, I see. Okay,
yeah,
no obligation. Okay, you would know when it's available. Sick.
Okay. Yeah, it's just that you'll get an email ping when it's available, as well as some like development updates.
Sign up for that
as things go on. Yeah, and I can clue you into a exclusive detail as a host on this podcast. It's not going to be expensive because the reason I wanted to do this project was to make it a very open access data project. But at the same time, it was a very expensive project for the nonprofit to do, and also very expensive and time-consuming on my behalf as well. So I won't be making money off of the regular licensing, which will be very cheap. It will be sub $100, which is crazy. I mean, the amount of money and time that went into this is well in the tens of thousands of dollars. So the fact that you could take advantage of it for probably somewhere around $60 is probably where it's going to end up. Like for the price of a video game, you could have like a $1.5 billion triangle polygon copy of Dealey Plaza, as well as all the raw data, terabytes of information. That's pretty good. So you can hit that pre-order button, and if you're a big fish, if you've got if you're like Oliver Stone and you're going to make like a third documentary or something, there's a different licensing fee for something that large, which is kind of understandable. But for most people, they'd be spending $60. So that's the exclusive detail.
Nice.
Plus, on the site, last thing I'll say on this, on the site, there is a free walkthrough of Dealey Plaza that you can look at. That's not the data set proper, the full data set, but you can literally just click through all around Dealey Plaza wherever ground-based scans were done, which is that in of itself was a big thing for me to get across in the contract that I wrote with the nonprofit, to make sure that there was something free that everyone could use to sort of explain their just use as an educational tool at all. So if you're a teacher or something in a classroom and you want to show people, you show your class your class what Dealey Plaza looks like from different vantage points. There's literally I think something like, I can't remember if it's 500 scan points or 200 scan points. I can't remember. It's been a while now. But there's 200 scan points of Dealey Plaza, so 200 vantage points that you can look through for free, for absolutely free. No strings attached.
The website says 411 scans.
Okay, 411. There you go. Yeah. There you go. How about news? Any news going on?
Well, the nice thing about this website project is that I can just it's now easy to find what's trending, I guess. Which, to be quite honest, it's I think I want to aggregate this stuff not just with news articles, but because that's very doesn't necessarily represent what people are talking about, right? It's just like what articles, what the news people are talking about. Because I don't know, some of these are like not that interesting. I think a lot of these just end up being in the trending thing because it's just they're easy articles to make. That would be like for example, one of them is Helldivers 2 is coming out, and the PC specs were revealed, and it's like every organization made an article on it. Basically, that basically says the same thing. But other than that, the other four things out of my trending thing are Alan Wake, because the character from the game Alan Wake is coming to Dead by Daylight as a new survivor. The trending topics: Indiana Jones. Xbox January Showcase will show first Indiana Jones gameplay. Then The Last of Us. Last of Us 2 Season 2 casts somebody as Abby. Caitlin Dever. I don't know who this is, but she's casted as Abby. And a game called Pal World, which is described as Pokemon with guns. I don't know what this is. Okay. Apparently it'll be added to Game Pass day one, actually, and has confirmed release date. Now the way I have this set up is that Dolly will generate an image for each trending topic. And for some of these, they make a lot more sense than other games. So The Last of Us is literally Abby. This doesn't make sense.
Right.
I give it like the article titles and it generates it based off of that. So that makes a lot of sense with like the background and a sort of like Last of Us 2 sort of theme. Indiana Jones it's actually wrong. It's a PlayStation controller when it should be Xbox controller with like Indiana Jones themed buttons on it. So is that. But for Pal World, the Pokemon with Guns game, it's like I think it really did something like just it didn't get it. Because I think when there's a factory in the background, I was like, why is there a factory in the background? What's that to do with anything? And reading these titles, there's one title that says a machine gun. I think that might have put a factory in the background of this image.
Oh, machine. I see.
Yeah, I can send the image in chat because so you see what I'm saying here.
Now, you'll only be able to see the image live time if you're on our Discord, which there's links to in the description.
True. Check that out. There you go. There's the image. I can't share a link to the image because it's hosted on my computer. So, well, actually, I guess Discord made a link for it now, so I guess you could copy the link there.
That is really random.
But yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. So I don't even see Pokemon. I see like fuzzy creatures that don't really resemble Pokemon, in my opinion. So
right. Cool.
Oh, sorry. One more thing. I posted it about in the Discord, but Unity laid off 25% of staff, which is 1,800 people, which is absolutely crazy. I didn't even know they had 1,800 employees because I don't really know like what are they doing. I didn't think there was that much work at Unity to do. They really have one main product that has offshoot products, and I didn't really think that was that big of a thing. But that's crazy.
What's the reason for the layoff?
They said they're like what they said, which was like to sound nice or whatever. I think it was like something like that essentially meant nothing. Like to help us grow in the long term. It's like what does that even mean? I guess like obviously, but more specifics would be nice. So unclear.
Sounds like code for we can't afford them.
That's yeah. Well, I had all the negative backlash recently, so it might have been a lot of people who stopped using Unity and stuff like that. So I guess they got to do something about that. And 1,800 is kind of 25%. 1,800 is crazy. Like I don't know. That's just crazy. But yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see here. So in the film world, it's been pretty slow because it's the end of a film cycle, meaning that we're going to get very horrible films. January is typically, the traditional worst month for movies ever because no one wants to release their best stuff in January just for everything to be forgotten when all the award ceremony stuff is happening, basically a full year later. So that's not happening. However, all the Oscar buzz is starting to crop back up. I noticed the first Oscar prediction movie, or Oscar prediction article that I've seen popped up. This one's from Variety Magazine, and I'll just quickly go through some interesting stuff. So they've got Oppenheimer winning for Best Picture over notables such as Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, is Oppenheimer going to be better than a Scorsese film at this point? Probably not, but I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon, so, maybe that's a correct assessment. I have no idea. Poor Things, and I think that's it that people might recognize in terms of film titles. However, interestingly, there are more recognizable film titles in this year's list than there were last year and the year before. And of course, I will punish myself for the sake of this show watching too many of these, but I've already gotten through Barbie and I survived. So like so I've done that, and I've done Oppenheimer. If you want to check out the whole ridiculously long episode on Oppenheimer, you can look up Oppenheimer on our channel, which I think is a propaganda film, but that's a whole other thing. I am definitely excited to see Killers of the Flower Moon, though, so hopefully that one's a good one. Best Director, we've got a prediction for Christopher Nolan. That kind of makes sense. Against Scorsese and some other people you've never heard of. Best Leading Role, we've got Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, which I have not seen. Best Actress, we've got Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. And I think that's all anyone will care about. Let's see here. Any other interesting stuff? Adapted screenplay. Apparently Barbie is an adapted screenplay. This category is ridiculous. It's always been ridiculous. It needs to stop. It just should probably stop existing. Just like either restrict it to some other genres, and just be just based off of literature or something. Because this is probably based off of some Barbie adventure, weird pamphlet thing or something. You know what I mean?
Is it actually though? What? I need to look this up.
Exactly. I have no idea, honestly.
I'm gonna look this up here. What is it based on?
No idea. No idea, but it'll probably win.
I like the Wikipedia description. It follows the pair on a journey of self-discovery following an existential crisis. That's their description of the film.
That's pretty specific and unique. Yeah, so while he's doing that, the other thing too about this category is that there's no requirement, as far as I understand, as to how closely the adaptation actually needs to be to the original. It just needs to be adapted. So a lot of times you'll see things where it's I guess the character names are the same, but nothing about it's the same. Even the title could be different, and that's just a farce. So there we go. Best animated feature, we've got this prediction for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, against Pixar's Elemental, and a bunch of other... Oh, actually, you might have heard of The Boy and the Heron. I've seen some stuff about that, because that's a Miyazaki film. But other than that, you probably haven't heard of the other ones. So, yeah, let me see here. I don't see anything... weird prediction for Poor Things for production design over both Barbie and Oppenheimer and Napoleon, which is fascinating. I don't know why, but there you go. That's pretty much it. Did you find it, Ben?
I haven't seen anything that it's based on, except that they say that it's based on Barbie by Mattel, which is that's hardly based on anything. So I guess Greta Gerwig wrote a poem that in her pre-production phase that she based it on.
Oh no!
And she says that there are parallels to her own childhood and also parallels to Adam and Eve in Milton's Paradise Lost.
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful!
But I'm not sure what else it's Yeah, I don't see anything that it's adapting other than Barbie. You know.
Maybe that counts enough for the
yeah,
Oscars.
Yeah, so apparently the Oscars claim that it qualifies because Barbie and Ken are pre-existing dolls.
Oh my goodness. That's really it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yes.
So anything that's based off of an existing IP outside of film. So like, were Transformers movies all like adapted screenplays? Like, because they were based off
I
of...
guess, yeah. By that logic, yeah. Yeah, Hot Wheels and whatever, yeah.
That is so absurd. They just made an excuse because they wanted to put it in there. I don't know. That's ridiculous.
I didn't realize it was so inspired by Paradise Lost.
Yeah, that's weird. I hate that movie. I don't even like talking about it. It reminds me of what it felt like sitting there, feeling like. Oh,
See, now I want to watch it now that I know that it's connected to Paradise Lost.
I wouldn't. I don't think it's very sophisticated, Ben. It's not a very sophisticated.
Or it's just so sophisticated that it's you need a degree in Milton. So, you need to be a Milton specialist. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, not a great film in my opinion. And when I say not a great film, I mean I think I gave it like a 1.5. Like, I really disliked it. Production design was cool. That's why I was surprised it wasn't this author's pick for production design, because I think that was like the one redeeming factor was like the Barbie universe was pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie, it was like well designed in terms of set work. Let's see here. So I had one other thing to say on the news side. Oh yeah, there's post SAG-AFTRA negotiations. People trying to, I think, smooth over the lack of satisfying conclusion to that whole debacle, particularly when it comes to AI. And there have been deals inked, post the deal, like with Replica Studios, which is an AI replicating company. I think that makes sense. And stuff like this. I think that this whole thing is just... I mean, I barely know enough about it to like comment on it, so I won't. Or else I probably would have done a whole episode on it. I just never had the time to like dig into the issue at hand. But like, this whole thing feels very slimy. Not gonna lie, from the outside looking in, at least, it doesn't look like good faith negotiations were actually had. But who knows? I don't know. I didn't look into it very deeply. So that's all I got. Let's see here. So shall we go into our...
I was just gonna say for music.
Oh, I skipped over you. My bad.
Yeah. As I didn't say this. I don't think we really did news last week, and then we had a couple of weeks break before that. So somewhere in that span, we had John Williams writing in, I think, like the London Times or some British newspaper, in an interview they did with him, that he is open to returning to composing for the quote right film.
You'll never stop.
Yeah, even though he's turning 92 later this year. But there you go. So John Williams, if the right film comes along, I guess who knows how much. I mean, who knows how much time he has left, but.
Well, we do have an unfinished, untitled Mickey Mouse script in our Discord. If you're right now, if you're not Locals member, it'll be made public at some point. But right now, it's only visible to Locals members. But if we finish the script, maybe John Williams will read it and think it's so brilliant. Maybe the first crowdsourced script ever to be composed by a major composer. Maybe we can make that happen. So head over to our Discord if you want to contribute to our beautiful, growing community script.
I'm amazed just glancing at some of that script you shared of Chinatown, like how much subtle foreshadowing there is. And I don't remember like every line from like the first 30 seconds of the film. I haven't seen it in a couple of years because they removed it from Netflix. But yeah, it's like, but like it's not something like you have to like know. There's no way you're going to get the end of the film from the foreshadowing.
Yep.
Unless you know the end of the film already. And
Yep.
I didn't even pick up on that like after watching it, like when I watched it the second time. But like reading it, okay, I see it. But like that's good. It's good writing.
Yes, fantastic writing. It's there's a reason why it's studied, over and over and over again, in film school. It's like the script to read. It's also like really nicely formatted, and I think very neutrally styled. In terms of like the like type of screenwriting going on. It's not very it's like if you read like a Tarantino script, you'll notice you'll notice that it's not formatted at all. And two, you'll notice that like the way he like describes things is like completely not neutral. He'll direct actors in the script, like, which is like, generally a no. So like things like Chinatown are good examples if you want to know what like straight industry standard looks like.
What do you mean direct actors in the script?
Like telling, like saying something like, I don't know, character A moves eyebrows in such a manner that one is above the other, and I don't know. It's like
Oh,
you're
boy.
not just giving
That's
an
a lot.
emotion and being like, and then she was sad or something, right? You're like specifying like what you otherwise might try to get on set, if you get what I mean.
Okay, I see.
Which you're not really supposed to do. And actors will hate you for it forever. They hate it. They despise it. And after taking an acting class, I understand. That would be bad. Very bad. Cool, so we go into our first segment.
Sure.
All right.
Sweet. So if you're new to the show, we do this show in segments, and the order for today is going to be Ben first talking about AI music, then we'll do Arguing with Reddit with me on movies, and then lastly Nathan will finish us off with his top games that he played in 2023. So here we go.
Mixed media music.
Hi, my name is Ben Costello. Oh wait,
What?
why did I start that way? I'm sorry.
First for everything.
That was so bad. I don't know why I said. Welcome to mixed media music. Wow.
And cut.
I apologize.
No worries.
All right. Try that again.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, welcome to Mixed Media Music, the portion of Mixed Media Podcast dedicated to all things music with a particular emphasis on film and media music. My name is Ben Costello. I'm a flute player and media composer, and I'm the main host of Mixed Media Music. I'm assisted by my co-hosts, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
So my name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur based out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania. I own a company called Ariella.
My name is Nathan Nestor. I'm a video game developer and 3D modeler.
All right. So today on Mixed Media Music, I'm going to talk about playing around with AI and categorization of music. Now, I'm not sure if that makes much sense exactly, if you don't know what I'm talking about. So, I just kind of ran into this recently, and I thought it was just kind of fun, so I wanted to experiment with it. There's a website called TuneBat. Okay. And it is allegedly supposed to give you data about music, and it's supposed to assist you, I think, in creating like playlist or like set lists for as a DJ. I think there are probably other things you can do with it as well. So what it does, you can search for songs and it's linked to Spotify,
Right.
and it will pull up the music that you have, okay, and or whatever you've searched for, and it'll take Spotify's analysis of key and key in beats per minute, okay, with the disclaimer that might not be accurate because it's from Spotify's determination. And then they'll also give you numbers for energy, happiness, and a bunch of other things. Oh, energy, happiness, danceability, something called like acousticness. I have no idea what that means, so I'm going to ignore that. Yeah, so it gives you values for these things. So I was looking at it mostly. I stumbled across it because I have been slowly cataloging my insanely large playlist of music, or that I do, like to practice Lindy Hop to. It's almost 400 songs long. Yes, it's too long, but that's okay. It's yeah. So, and I myself try to figure out beats per minute, and then I try and categorize them by structure, song structure, whatever, a bunch of other parameters that I'm interested in. But beats per minute is pretty important, because, well, at very least, I might want to practice progressively dancing to faster songs, so I have more prepared to dance something really fast. Okay, this is one way you can practice, and you can just turn on a metronome, but nobody wants to practice to a metronome. Okay, and I ran across this kind of accidentally, and because I saw that it also determines beats per minute, and now you can also like take an audio file and upload it to their service, and it will determine your beats per minute, your key, and will also come up with a number for energy, danceability, happiness, acousticness, whatever.
It seems very wrong, like with some of these metrics. So, for example, All I Want for Christmas Is You is like the top thing on this thing, and it gives it a 35 for happiness, which is interesting. And then you go to Do You Hear What I Hear, and you get a 13 for happiness. It sounds like it's a depressing song. That's not even the case.
Oh wow, I didn't get any numbers that low.
Apparently, it's just a really depressing song. I don't know.
Wow,
So,
that's
I don't
crazy.
know. I just figured I would have some fun with this. So they also give you something called Camelot number. I don't actually know what that is, but I think it has to do with like how easy songs in the same Camelot number like will transition to other songs in a DJing set list better. I don't know how that's determined. So that's like another thing to explore sometime, but not right now. So what I wanted to do, just for fun, because first they tell us how they come up with this. They let us know that sentiment analysis is what they call determining energy, happiness, danceability, and all this other stuff. They say sentiment analysis uses machine learning models trained on large audio data sets. All right. They also let us know that the algorithms were developed and tuned by audio experts and PhD holders to maximize accuracy. Okay. And they further clarify for this sentiment analysis, but TuneBat uses algorithms developed through machine learning to perform sentiment analysis. This means models have been trained on a large number of audio files with predetermined values for energy, danceability, and happiness. This enables the AI to look at new audio files and then make estimations based on the previous audio files and associated values it's looked at. So I guess for a whole bunch of songs, and entered a value out of 100 for a bunch of songs for energy, danceability, and happiness. I don't know who had the job of doing that. But I guess that's how the AI has been trained. Somebody has done this, or some people have done this with some amount, presumably somewhat large amount of music. Okay. So again, I figured I would just have fun playing around with this. So I took 30 songs from my playlist, most of which are songs that I really enjoy dancing to. Some of which I stuck in there to see what would happen if I do something that's like really slow and not very good for the kind of dancing I do. Now, energy would seem like the most straightforward one of these categories to me. Danceability, that's to me that's kind of suspect, because what kind of dancing are we doing, right? And yeah, so there's a huge difference between like doing a waltz and doing salsa and doing Lindy Hop or whatever. So I don't know how that's determined, or just doing like basic, I'm in a club and I'm just kind of grooving, I guess. I don't know.
I think that's what it is, right? Because it seems like the whole thing is dedicated, is for DJs, right? With the Camelot number and stuff like that. So I guess that this is for like mixing in songs back to back that are not too different, I guess.
I guess, but I don't know. So I don't know how they don't define danceability. And happiness, I mean, that seems like probably the hardest thing to come up with a value for. Like, what are you looking for in terms of happiness? Like, how happy is the song, right? So anyway, I took 30 songs from my playlist. I can share these, and I can share all the numbers too. So with you all on Discord later, it might be interesting. If I hand you all of TuneBat's numbers, and you can also listen to the songs for yourselves and determine what you think of its numbers. So I ignored like acousticness or whatever that is. I don't know what that means. So the songs I selected: Tommy Dorsey's Opus 1, Glenn Miller's Sun Valley Jump, Count Basie's early Count Basie Jive at 5, early Count Basie Jumping at the Woodside, Ella Fitzgerald Solid as a Rock, Duke Ellington Sophisticated Lady, Duke Ellington Midriff, I'm Beginning to See the Light, Duke Ellington Let's Call the Whole Thing Off, Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong, Drop Me Off in Harlem, Ella Fitzgerald and Duke Ellington, Six Cats and a Prince, Brooks Prumo Orchestra, Sing Me a Swing Song, very early Ella Fitzgerald, Fly Me to the Moon, Frank Sinatra, the classic, Armful of Sweetness, Brooks Prumo Orchestra, Count Basie, Chinese Stockings, Lionel Hampton, Flying Home, Count Basie, Corner Pocket, Love by, it's Nat King Cole song, but Michael Bublé singing it. I wanted to see what it would come up with for that version. All of Me, sung by Ella Fitzgerald. Ella Fitzgerald, Bill Bailey. Ella Fitzgerald, It's Only a Paper Moon. Basie, The Queen Bee. Sugar by Naomi and Her Handsome Devils, or sung by Naomi. Basie, Straight Ahead. Paul Kinnichet, Bustin' Suds. Johnny Hodges, Sideways. Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong, Love Is Here to Stay. Nat King Cole, Just You, Just Me. Gordon Webster and Hetty Kate, There's Frost on the Moon. And Glenn Miller, Starlit Hour. Okay. So those are my 30 songs. And most of these, a lot of these, okay, so some of these are songs that I particularly like. Some of them I threw in to see if I could, throw something totally different at the AI, and see what it thinks about music. Some of these are like absolute standards in the Lindy Hop community. You can't go to a Lindy Hop dance without them being played. Every dancer who takes Lindy Hop somewhat seriously knows these songs, and every moment in these songs, and knows exactly when to hit certain parts of them. So I would consider those to be very danceable. Okay. So, in terms of energy, it has interestingly low values out of 100. The highest value it gave me was Six Cats and a Prince at 59. And then, we can I guess to me that makes sense in some. I don't know, relatively why 59, what that means. And then just behind me, we have jumping up the woodside, flying home. And there's frost on the moon. Is actually number 2. Okay, so these are all upper 50s. Okay, again, so relatively, I don't know what that means. Right, what is, like, is that a high number? Is that, like, just barely more than, like, halfway full of energy? I don't know.
As far as they don't have a white paper preparing for their stock market debut.
This list is crazy. What a Wonderful World has a 20 happiness. It is bonkers.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh well, we're not at happiness yet. We're taking the easy ones first. Energy, and data stability. Then we'll get to happiness. Well, I was going to ask for suggestions from the audience of some things we can try, but it looks like, Nathan, you're already just playing around with it yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm going with this advanced search. I'm trying to see the highest and lowest happiness. It's just hilarious what it spits out.
What is 100% happy?
So 100, it gave me a Krusty Krab song remix. I don't know what that is, but I thought it was really
is
funny.
this like someone is like the person who entered these values that it was trained on? Like, did they enter like SpongeBob, like 100 because they're a SpongeBob fan? Like,
It's just good for the club, you know? Oh my
Wow.
god.
is that like what this AI is being trained on? Like SpongeBob is like,
Oh man.
Oh man.
or like what happens if you do like SpongeBob Friend? Like what, like the Friends song, right?
Oh, the one with the bombs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, let me just look at SpongeBob as like just like a the track title. Let's see what we get here. All right, dude. Okay, we don't get SpongeBob. Wow, it just gave me everything else.
I will say that its search function is not very good.
No.
No, it's bad.
Yeah, you can literally I tried this. Like, if you type in like I don't remember which one, but like some of these things, like, you type in like I don't know, what was an example, like like straight ahead bassy, and it's like you have to scroll through like a long time to actually find Count Basie straight ahead, something like that. Like,
Yeah.
come on, that shouldn't be hard for you to search.
All right.
Wait, so this one's funny too. So this one's a Polyphia song called "Playing God," and if you don't know, Polyphia is a is it a acoustic electric guitar band basically. I guess they're math rock according to Wikipedia. So basically, there's a very specific type of music, and it has danceability at 60, which like. I don't think it's very danceable.
No.
That's pretty high on its compared to a lot of the stuff that I have on my list. So there you go. I guess
Well, the funny part is that it has acousticness, even though they're using nylon string guitars in this song. They have 4.
I think the only one I remember looking at the acoustic value, I think, was like Paul Kinichet's Bustin' Suds, and I think it had it 9. I'm like, what? Like, this is a trumpet, a tenor saxophone, piano, upright bass.
We're destroying Toon Bat's whole career right here.
This is crazy. It gave Dream On by Aerosmith a 23 on happiness.
Oh my goodness.
It gave My Life by J. Cole a 9, which is, I don't even know, like... It gave Just Wanna Rock by Lil Uzi a 4 on happiness.
Okay,
A
so
4.
like, what kind of things are happy to them? Like,
Apparently things that are not happy, I guess. Like, or rather, I don't know, it just has a very wrong
what
view
is
of what's happy.
what's that like what's like the Cat Stevens one? Is it like what's the Cat Stevens, the really sad one? Oh gosh, can't think of the name of a song. Yeah, Father and Son. Okay, let's look at that. Look at Father and Cat Stevens' Father and Son. It is not a happy song.
No.
Let's see. Cat Stevens.
It would seem they need a lot more data.
I don't think it includes lyrics. I think that's because there's no way that In the End by Linkin Park is a 40 and everything else was like below that. That's crazy.
Wow. It must not.
Okay. They give Cat Stevens' Father and Son 37 on happiness. Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Well, interesting.
Huh.
They're not paying any attention to the lyrics, obviously.
No.
It's a song. It's a song about, it's a stereotypical song of like the father who's always too busy for his son, and then, son's always asking him to play, and he says no, and then the father's now like dying, and he's like, son, I want to talk to you, and he's like, I don't have time for you, Dad. Something like that.
Yeah.
So a really, really, really uplifting song. Yeah. Well, anyway, back to energy. So I would think that this is like mostly calculated by beats per minute, because I'm not, it would seem like an obvious correlation, and it's just like a rough correlation, sort of, at least for not this 30 songs that I looked at, but only sort of, because it's not a one-to-one relationship. For one, they often take values that are large and will cut them in half, so they give you like a double, a halftime feel, right? So like, if a song is actually 200 beats per minute, I'll tell you that it's 100 beats per minute. Now, you wouldn't feel it that way as a musician. I mean, and maybe as a musician, you kind of will have that like going inside of you as well. You want that larger beat feel. But definitely as a dancer, you're not going to start with that principle unless it's absurdly fast and you can't dance to it. So most of them are cutting these values in half. But then occasionally they won't. Like the song Just You, Just Me, they give it a value, with BPM of like 208. It's far higher than anything else that I have. It's not actually the highest BPM value that I have in my list. Those go to Six Cats and a Prince and Jumping into the Woodsides, which do come up as number 1 and 2 in terms of energy. But it also has halved those values, so they're almost half of the tempo given, beats per minute of Just You, Just Me, which comes in pretty low on the energy scale. So it's not exactly a 1-to-1 ratio. Yeah. So I'm quite curious as to what exactly whoever came up with these numbers is using to determine energy. Right? Is this like? So it's, I guess it's not just a something that's related to how fast it is, right? How much it makes your heartbeat move or change, elevate, and I don't think it's necessarily related to like whether it's kind of in a minor or major key either, because most of his songs that have a higher value tend to be actually have minor key, sort of be minor areas for a lot of the time. So yeah, I'm not really sure. So what's going on there? And they also give like a relatively amongst my list like a high value to something like the Queen Bee, which if you listen to that, then I will put all these songs in a shareable playlist on our Discord. Please tell me when you listen to the Queen Bee by Basie and Sammy Nestico that is not an energetic song. Please agree with me that it is not in the top, towards the top of the most energetic songs on my 30-song list.
Real quick, Steph says, searching by targets is zero good, does not list them in highest order, and you just hit search again without changing parameters, and they change their list with no reason. Yeah, I mean...
Okay. So the thing is, like, this is a website that now I've heard people talk about, like, out in the real world. Like, I first came across it a couple of months ago, like, just in passing. I had no interest in looking, at it. But then I started hearing people talk about it. Like, okay, so, I don't know, I figured I'd play around with it for fun. So it's not like this is just some random thing that I happened to come across. Like, other people I know are referencing it. So for all of its at least pretty sketchy search function. I will say, like, the beats per minute is fairly accurate. Maybe not 100%, but pretty decent. It's always within like a reasonable margin of error if it's not exact. It's hard to be exact with older songs anyway, because they weren't recorded, with a click track. Whereas anything recorded in the studio now is going to be done in multiple parts, and there will be a click track. Right. So it's the tempo should be completely stable, right? If you listen to recordings from the 30s, it's not. I mean, not live. You could have a live recording, but even if it's in the studio, it's essentially a live recording just without an audience, right? And so the tempo is going to fluctuate a little bit. So it's hard to be exact. I also, I was looking at this. I was trying to come up with a correlation too between things like, how generally busy the songs sound, like how dense is the texture, how many instruments are there, right? If there are it's more rhythmic propulsion, even in a slower tempo. I really do not find any correlation. So yeah, that's what our AI says about energy. So for danceability, I thought this was really quite funny. I think this is, as someone, I was mostly interested in this number because again, I mostly selected things that I like to dance to, or everyone pretty much in the Lindy Hop community likes to dance to, and a couple things that would not be very good to dance to Lindy Hop wise, and just as counterbalance. It lets us know that Jumping at the Woodside and Flying Home are the most danceable songs. Well, Flying Home is probably the song for Lindy Hoppers. So, okay, that makes sense. But it's not an easy song to dance to because it is quite fast. It's not a beginner song to dance to, even though it is quite common. So, okay, I guess it makes sense. It gives Flying Home 75, but it gives Jumping at the Woodside 76. That's the highest value that it came out with. Now, again, this is a classic Lindy Hop song, but it is insanely fast. It's kind of like, it's the song you put on when you have fast dancing competitions. This is not a song that you get to train to dance at this speed. Okay. Now, again, it is happening the beats per minute value of this song, so maybe that plays some role in it. I don't know. If you're gonna dance it like twice as slow as the actual tempo of the song, okay, it's easier to dance to, but then it is less interesting to dance to as well. So yeah, that's interesting. And then number 3 has "I'm Beginning to See the Light" by Duke Ellington, the original Duke Ellington recording with Joyous Cheryl singing, which is to me absolutely hilarious because this is not a song. It is so slow. And it is not stylistically good for Lindy Hop at all. Maybe if you're doing some kind of blues dancing, it might be appropriate. But even for that, it is so slow that it is hard to stay on the beat. Lots of other great recordings that I'm beginning to see the light out there that are much faster. But this original recording, how that's the right. It has a value of 74. I don't understand that. And it also gives us the tie for 4th place. We have Sugar and Armful of Sweetness, which those come in at 72 on their value. I mean, you could dance to Armful of Sweetness, but it is not a good song for Lindy Hop. It's definitely like a Charleston kind of song. So, again, this is not like focusing on Lindy Hop, but interesting to me. Yeah. And, I delve into these numbers a lot more, but I'm kind of shocked at how low it gives Shiny Stockings and Corner Pocket, which are like some of the cornerstones of Lindy Hop dancing. Shiny Stockings for danceability gives us a 57, and Corner Pocket is 52. Like, what? These are like the best possible songs for like any Lindy Hopper, even if you're a complete beginner, to dance to. So that's interesting.
So is this used specifically for Lindy stuff, or?
No. I mean, I certainly heard people talk about it there.
Okay, gotcha.
But I don't know. It's clearly, my point is it's not matching like what people actually are dancing to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, granted, again, this is one dance community. Maybe it's not a song you want to put on if you go out for a night at a club. But I also doubt you want to put "Jump Into the Woodside" on, unless you're talking about 1930. All right, great. That would go pretty well. Harlem in 1930s, but I don't think that's where we are right now. Unhappiness. Wow, that's fun. So let's see. It gives the highest happiness value to Armful of Sweetness. Again, I think we're not. Granted, there's nothing like wrong with the lyrics, but none of the lyrics that I selected from these 30 songs are sad at all. So clearly, it takes in, as we've already pointed out, takes into account lyrics not at all, which makes sense. It's probably not trained on that.
It could probably just like take the lyrics and pass it off to ChatGPT and ask it, "Is this sad?" and then like call it a day. Like
it probably could.
Just
I don't know.
Take someone else's word.
There are also just dumb ways of doing it. Well, like using a sentiment analyzer, where you just use the average sentiment of averages and like what people consider the sentiment of a word and adding them all up. It's like if you have the word "bad" like 9,000 times in a row, it's like, oh, this is probably negative sentiment, not very happy song. It says like happiness in the song 20,000 times, probably a more happy song.
Yeah. So it says that Armful of Sweetness is a 92. Glenn Miller's Sun Valley Jump is a 90. And Sing Me a Swing Song and Six Cats and a Prince at 86. And again, Flying Home, it really likes Flying Home, and Six Cats and a Prince at 78. And the lowest, it gives Shiny Stockings. It's crazy. It's not a sad song. Starlit Hour, I'm Beginning to See the Light. Love Is Here to Stay, and Sophisticated Lady as the lowest. Now, you could say that there's generally maybe some correlation here. I was just coming up with looking at the happiness while we were starting. Maybe there's some correlation here between like tempo being in a major key and having kind of propulsive rhythms. Some correlation there generally, right? The things that it is generally saying are the least happy tend to be slower, even if the lyrics themselves aren't sad. They tend to be slower songs, and have more lyrical, sustained melodies. Now, whether that equates to happiness or sadness or not happiness, I don't know. I wouldn't say that's true. I guess I'm more drawn to lyrics, if we have lyrics. And conversely, right, the highest things, it's tending to pick things that are brighter tempos, be in major key, have more definitive like rhythmic patterns that it sticks to. Although it also has sugar quite high. which is the opposite of that. It should be like in my understanding of these general parameters, right, of tempo, key, and rhythm. If we're excluding lyrics, I think it would go very much in the very low end with the songs that it is most similar to in terms of lyricalness. Its key, its tempo, its general rhythmic feel. But it is pretty high up there as well. So I guess I don't know why that's such an outlier. So yeah, I don't know. I just figured this would be kind of fun to play around with, for no other reason than it's just interesting to see what AI comes up with these days. This is obviously not the most sophisticated AI out there, I think, because it is just not coming up with values that make much sense to Ben the human, not even Ben the composer. You don't need to be a composer or a flute player to have your own values for these things. You don't even have to be a dancer. You could probably, if you're not a dancer, come up with your own sense of how danceable something is, even if you've never touched a dance floor or never will touch a dance floor. So yeah, again, I guess it's probably mostly going off some combination of like tempo and rhythmic propulsiveness and whether it's in the major or minor key. I'd be really interested in what songs it was trained on and who was assigning these sentiment values to the songs it was trained on. Yeah, I think if anything, it says more about the training set and the people who assigned these values initially than it does about the AI itself. So yeah, I thought it'd be interesting, kind of fun experiment to look at and see whether AI, or at least this particular AI, knows what it's talking about in terms of describing music's properties.
Yeah, that's neat. It's interesting for sure. I wonder, like, because I feel like in AI in general, because we did like 2 AI roundtables at some point, and you should definitely check out those episodes. They were good. We had some guests on as well as we were talking about it, which was nice. But like, I feel like we've hit like a wall of usefulness. Like, I don't know if it's like a development problem or if it's like an AI fundamental problem, but like, I feel like literally, actually, I think it's actually made my search, like searching on just like regular search engines, like less useful, simply because I get AI articles so frequently as a response, and they're usually really bad, and completely useless.
Yeah, I just having this conversation with my mom the other day, but I don't do much shopping on Amazon, but she does. And she always looks at Amazon reviews. And now, apparently, like, if you look on Amazon or list stuff she's looking at, the first review will always be an AI-generated review based on the existing reviews. Although her comment was that it's almost always like whatever AI they're using is pretty bad, because it tends to like not write, and even like old Chat GPT quality, like really choppy, like not complete sentences. Again, maybe there's some bit of like it's looking at people who wrote reviews who didn't write them very well themselves. But that's so, like, do you really want, if you're looking at a review for a product, you really want the AI to summarize a bunch of other reviews and create its own review?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And even this 2-met thing, it's one thing to have like beats per minute, right? Like, okay, that's useful if someone's not skilled at like coming up with that number for themselves. But it seems like just a waste of applying AI. It's like throwing AI at a non-existent problem. Like, do you really need to know, like, have a score for happiness for your song, or acousticness, or energy? I mean, like, like it seems like someone's like, wow, I can just use AI to come up with a number for this value, and maybe some people will be interested in it. Like, was anybody actually looking for that? I don't know.
Wall Street might be, it's for their stock market debut, so they can, put out a white paper and say, look, this is genius.
I mean, I guess if nobody else is doing it, there's probably no one else who can give you a happiness score for a song. So.
Exactly.
Just throwing AI at whatever you can throw at, it at, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Amazon thing. It's kind of crazy. I just clicked the first thing I saw on the homepage. It was like, it's just dog food. It's dog food, right? And then you scroll down, and right before the thing, it says customers like the appearance and value of the pet food. The appearance is so crazy. They mentioned that it has a shiny coat with shiny spelt wrong with 2 N's instead of 1 N. And their skin looks better. Yeah. Some are happy with the ingredients. However, some of the customers dislike the effect on their stomach. Customers have mixed opinions on effect on skin, taste, smell, and quality. This is AI generated from text of customer reviews. And then it's funny because it has like a list of like these like I guess these sort of categories, and it has like a check mark or like a minus sign or like a neutral thing for each one. So like value is a check mark, right? Ingredients, check mark. Appearance, check mark. Quality, taste, effect on skin, and smell are like neutral. And then there's like a minus for effect on stomach, which I think is really funny. I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in the... it's just in the image, so now I'm not going to see it, but...
I don't know. I think people are just rushing to use AI everywhere, even where it's like not appropriate. Like, there are places that it's useful, I'm sure, but not in all the places that it's showing up.
Yeah. This it reminds me of do you guys remember what WeWork was before it went bankrupt?
It sounds familiar, but I can't think of.
Okay, WeWork was like a work share like type company. So what they would do is they buy really expensive real estate in like city centers. So they'd buy like a skyscraper in Manhattan. They'd buy like whatever stuff like that, and they would divvy up the office space into like cubicles, and then they would rent out the cubicles to like startups basically, or like a set of cubicles or like a meeting room. So basically, there's a way of subdividing this real estate in a way that was much more distributed. Now, they sold themselves as being a disruptor in the work market because, like, they leveraged technology basically to do this better than any real estate person could ever do ever before. But, like, of course, it's the same thing as every other work share that's existed for, like, the last 100 years. Like, it's the same thing. They just slapped the word disrupting via like, algorithms. Like, they just put disrupting via algorithms on their thing. And they raised ridiculous quantities of money via IPOing on Wall Street. They raised billions and billions of dollars. They lasted for, like, must have been, like, 5 to 10 years. I'm not sure. Maybe it was like 5 years they lasted, just off of the money they rose, the capital they rose, to do literally what everyone else does and make less money, and then they went bankrupt. So, like, I feel like there's a lot of AI projects that are exactly like that, where they just put the word AI on it, they technically use AI, but it's just like, it's not actually a new idea or anything like that, it's just, it's this with AI on top.
Well, before we go, I'm just curious for the image here, thumbnail image. Is this like a AI Hilary Hahn playing violin? Kind of looks like Hilary Hahn.
I don't know who Hilary Hahn is, so.
Oh, okay. Well, then it looks kind of like her. I would guess that they use Hilary Hahn as their model for a violin player.
Let me see who Hilary. Oh yeah, she kind of does. Huh? That wouldn't be ridiculous at all.
I like how she's like she's got a human face and hands, and she's playing the violin, but she has no bow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think there are any strings on the violin either.
I really liked that because I was like, I mean, that's kind of what AI is, right? It's just kind of it's like pretending to be something, but really, it just kind of emits the stuff, you know. Like, I was like, I like that. I don't think it did that on purpose, but
it's just speakers in the robot.
Yeah, exactly. The prompt, I think. Let me see if I can find the prompt. I think I literally just typed in an AI musician. That's all I typed.
Okay. Well, there we go. Hillary Hahn as a robot playing violin without any strings or without a bow.
Yes, the music comes from her like face or something, you know, from a speaker.
She's from Baltimore too.
Oh, cool. All right, so we moved on to the next section.
Sounds good.
Sweet. If you like this section, definitely hit the like button. Ben, you want to transition us over?
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us tonight on Mixed Media Music. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you are listening or watching to us. Also, make sure you join us on our Discord. You can get. I will give the playlist. 30 songs I talked about, and I'll also include the numbers that the TuneBat gave, so you can tell me whether you agree or disagree with them. So they'll be on our Discord to join us there. You can also support us on Locals. Link to that in our Discord down there, mixedmediapodcast.com. Yeah, thanks again to our subscribers, Post, 99 Crime, Kay Karros, and Alex Egbert. That's all for Mixed Media tonight. But stick around if you're watching live. We have Nathan. Sorry, you have to remember what you're talking about.
I'll be talking about my sort of review, a general sort of review of games this past year.
And arguing with Reddit film version. Yeah.
Sweet. All right, here we go to arguing with Reddit.
Mixed Media Movies.
And welcome back to Mixed Media. This is our Arguing with Reddit segment, where I will be reviewing hot takes from Reddit and around the internet. Wow, brain freeze. I'm having the same issue as Ben earlier. I don't know what's going on. What do I normally say after this? Okay, I guess we'll introduce ourselves. So my name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur. I own a company called Ariella, based out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Ben Costello. I'm a flute player and media composer.
I'm Nathan Nestor. I'm a 3D modeler and video game developer.
Sweet. And if you're not familiar with Arguing with Reddit, what we do is we react to, each of us take turns every week, and we react to hot takes that our co-hosts have submitted. I have not seen what they have sent in over the net. And I also picked one for myself, so I have seen that one, although I haven't thought about it at all, so I will think about it as I bring it up. So with that, let me pull up... we've got some... let's see.
The one I just reposted mine. It's the same one I put in last week that we didn't.
Yeah,
get.
I was gonna say we have some leftover from last week.
Yeah,
that
so
we didn't get
I
to.
I just copied and put it, so you can see it more recently. But.
Gotcha. Thank you. I'm gonna do Nathan's first. Let's see. So Nathan, if you want to explain while I pull it up.
Sure. It's from r/movies. It says, "Who else reads the quote? Who else reads IMDb quote? Did you know? End quote. Right after watching a film." And it says, "Every movie I watch, the first thing I do when it's over is head over to the Did You Know section of IMDb, and then sometimes the wiki. It's just how my brain is. If it intrigues me, I just want to know more. Wondering if any of you do that, or how you nerd out further after having watched the film, or do you just move on?" So yeah, actually, I'm curious. Do you think that I'm gonna just add on to what this person said? Do you think that it is like inherently good or bad to, like, right after the movie's over, check out, like, say the IMDb Did You Know section or the Wikipedia or something for the movie?
I mean, I guess it's fine. I mean, my problem happens more when people sort of like take for granted how much they can ruin their own experience by doing this before the movie, right? It depends on the film, so not every film is going to matter as much as other films, but you also don't necessarily know if it matters for a particular film that you're going to watch. So, why disturb the experience for yourself unnecessarily? So, like, from a before perspective, yeah, if I know I'm going to watch something, I just avoid everything, about it, because it's the best way to watch it. I mean, you get the cleanest reception of the artist's intent, basically. Marketing campaigns can distort the meaning of a thing. Articles written about something can distort the meaning of a thing, and you might think of yourself as relatively able to sift those things out from your mind, but then I've had experiences where I watched something where I barely knew the press about it. For example, Barbie. That's one of them. I literally read like the beginning of an article, but because of the director, I was really interested in watching it regardless of what anyone said. And I watched, I think, like the teaser, which was like 30 seconds or something like this. And then I just went straight into it and got absolutely all my hopes and dreams were destroyed. But the things people have, in retrospect, looking back at what people said about what that film was going to be like and what that film, all the press sort of about it and stuff like this, it's just hard. It's harder to separate, the prior statements while you're watching a film from sort of filtering the way that you interpret it instead of just taking it for what it is, which is, that's the true medium. Afterwards, though, I guess you could just do whatever you want. If you're curious about particular things, that's pretty cool. I actually encourage it, if you and this is how I got into film, was kind of this curiosity about like how certain things were done and the motivations behind certain decisions, etc., etc. I still remember after watching Dark Knight, which was like the film for me, that kind of like launched me into this whole filmmaking thing, and just being like so amazed by Heath Ledger's performance that I had to see what behind the scenes of that looked like, right? And seeing Heath Ledger from outside of the camera was so shocking, because like it doesn't look anything like the film and stuff like this. It's like, what is this magic that they're doing that gets you from something that's just like some weirdo in a costume looking very awkward in front of a camera to like one of the most masterful performances I've ever seen, and depicted very cinematically, and then you ask more questions, whatever, and that's how you get into things. So I do encourage it, actually. I think it's a good thing, and it's an impulse that I think has completely left the public, because the film industry itself doesn't encourage that kind of awe or magic of filmmaking anymore. When we think of something like Universal Studios in Florida, the park, right? The whole point of that park, right, was to be like, this is how movies are made. It's so magical and awesome, right? And they take you like behind these like the back lots, right? They make like exhibits out of them. It's the idea behind it was when Hollywood understood how to engage a crowd properly, and help them to, like, when they went to the next movie, to revere what they were looking at, because they understood the types of effort and passion involved in making such things. Nowadays, that same thing is really just for nostalgia, right? Like, nostalgia is the driving reason to go to Universal Studios to see the backlots of the movies that you used to like, not anymore about the future of cinema. It's a retrospective thing, which is it's a sign of death for the industry, and it's bad. So I would love if more people just went to IMDb and was like, I want to know things. That's pretty cool. So it's positive. That's my answer. Cool. Wrong thing. Let me I'll pull up Ben's next if you want to explain.
Yeah, I think this one was pretty self-explanatory, but what bad films could have been better if the actors switched roles? They give the example, OP says, I think the Bonfire of the Vanities would have been better with Hanks and Willis switching roles. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Switching roles. That's so specific. Okay, so one film that immediately comes to mind where I feel like there's a miscast, which is a generally good film. I think I watched it with Nathan. What's it called?
What?
It's a Civil War film.
Glory?
Glory, right? Glory.
Oh yeah, it's a great film.
Yeah, great film. The main character though, I think, was a little a little miscast, which kind of leads to an odd.
The main character,
vibe.
as in the
Captain guy or whatever. I can't remember.
The guy
I think he
leads
might have been he might have been casted because he really looks like the guy.
I see.
If I recall correctly.
Yes, but I feel like that was a poor casting, and there were other people on the cast who probably could have filled. I mean, you don't have to. As long as they can fit the historical demographic. They probably would have done a better job than him at inhabiting the character that he's supposed to inhabit. Very oddly, like timid performance for a character that I feel like wasn't written to be timid, which kind of accidentally makes a weirdly interesting character when you don't know who the character is at the beginning, if you get what I mean. When you're like sort of getting into the film, you're like, it makes it feel like the timidness is like part of the character, and then you kind of get through the whole film and you're like, I don't think that was supposed to be there. I think that was just the actor.
maybe it is, like, to some extent, like, I think there's some, like, aspect of him, like, I guess, how should I say this? Being like, he's never had a leadership role, and suddenly he's like the leader of this whole, I don't know, whatever it is, regiment or whatever the designation is, right? And he's responsible for these men. And I think they probably could have done a better job of, like, I could see him also being timid because, like, here he is, like, this white kid, right? He comes from a family that, like, has a lot of respect for, black people, right? He's from a family of prominent abolitionists. It's like it's not something that has a leadership role that everybody else in the army is looking down upon, right? He's just the guy who's leading the black guys. Yeah. But I don't know, like, it's there, but I don't know that, like, that's connected to why he's kind of, like, timid. I think it feels more like he's just timid because that's just who he is, and not because of his circumstances so much.
Yes, I agree with you. It's like it's like a timidness on top of, like, what was supposed to be there. It's like he, like, hesitates to deliver lines, like, in a way that, like, feels, like, correct, if you get what I mean. It's like a weird, like, he's like, the actor was, like, afraid of being too large or something like this. Like, I don't know what it was, but it felt a little like the actor wasn't 100% comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, it's a good way of putting it. Not seeming very comfortable in the role. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. But a great film.
Yeah. It reminds me. I still haven't talked about the music for that film. Maybe that'll be next time. Yeah. Yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good one. Definitely like that film. So that's just one that randomly came to my head. But I'm bad at, like, generating these examples off the top of my head in the moment. So let me look at what other people have said. Face Off. That's a fascinating one. That's a fascinating one because you got two big wigs, Nick Cage and John Travolta. I've only seen, like, so it's like one of those typical TV movies where, like, it's playing all the time on some channel, and I remember seeing it, like, I've probably seen the whole thing, like, just in, like, weird pieces throughout the years, so maybe take my opinion with a grain of salt. But I can see that. I can see that. I can see why it has 207 upvotes. I think that makes sense. But any Nick Cage performance is just odd. He has some of the most oddest roles ever. A legend in his own right. Let's see here. We've got Keanu Reeves and Carrie Elwes in Dracula. Well, I have not seen that. I didn't even know Keanu Reeves played Dracula. Like, what? That's interesting. Let's look at the movies first. What is this? And the world is not enough. I don't understand what the person's saying. Okay. Les Mis. Okay, I've seen that. The movie musical version of Les Mis should have swapped Russell Crowe with Hugh Jackman because the vocal ranges were the wrong way around. Now, the real question is, can Russell Crowe sing at all? That's really the problem, right? Is like, I think Russell Crowe isn't much of a singer, is my understanding. So I'm not sure if that would have solved the problem. But I also didn't like that movie very much, which is a hot take, I think. I think it's a hot take. I'm not sure. Ben, have you seen it?
No, I was just going to say that when you're confused about it, The World Is Not Enough is a James Bond film.
Oh, I was reading "is not enough" as part of the sentence. I was very confused. Okay, that makes sense. So switching Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe, I feel like I understand, okay, maybe from a music perspective might have been better, which I'm doubtful of. But in terms of like embodying the characters, I would not do that, actually. I think they respectively were properly casted for their acting bits, outside of the music stuff. Suicide Squad, Jared Leto, and some actor who's not in the movie. Rip Jared Leto. Okay, but playing the Joker is like, I mean, that's like, you're stepping into like what's become a cinematic tradition of like crazy acting chops being required. So taking a risk like Jared Leto did with Suicide Squad, I can respect that he took the risk, and the filmmaking in general was awful. So I mean, you can't just put the whole thing on him. Okay, I'll stop there. But yeah, I'll stop there. But yeah, that's what I got. Let's see. This last one is from me, and it relates to what may be my topic for next week. Either that, or I'm going to review a short film. I'm kind of leaning into reviewing a short film because I haven't done that in a while. But let me know if you want me to talk instead about Godzilla -1 and do a full review of that instead. So maybe I'll check to see if it's still playing in theaters, and if it's still playing, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll review Godzilla -1. But here we go. There's a spoiler in this? Hold on, let me look at the spoiler real quick. Okay, so there's a read more button that I won't click, and I don't think there's a spoiler in the the beginning part of this. Okay, so Godzilla -1 was unexpected. I had no expectations from this movie. Yada yada yada. I'm just gonna skip down to the more interesting part where it says, I felt like the emotional core of the movie was the lead and his love interest and the child that they decided to raise together. Since the movie is set in the time after World War II, everyone is trying to heal from the damages of the war. There's no food or place to live, and all these, what? Am I reading that right? Midst? Oh, in the midst, maybe? Something like that. Our lead is doing a job putting his life on the risk so that he could earn more to raise the baby. All this just for a monster to show up and for them to pause to their misery to focus on defeating the monster. I felt bad when the female lead died in the movie. I could relate to the motivation that the male lead had to defeat Godzilla. It was people versus Godzilla, yes, but it was also personal. Male lead versus Godzilla. Okay, so this movie is great. This movie is fantastic. Go watch it. It's not going to change your life or something like this. Like, it's not something like that. But, like, it is a fantastic film that brings back the best in blockbuster type filmmaking. And it comes from Japan, as I think any proper blockbuster from here on out is going to be probably a foreign film, because we're not allowed to make those here Yeah, I really like this take because it points to something that I think I've seen this is not the only take I've seen in this vein. When I was looking for hot takes, I saw a lot of takes that revolved around the fact that people like cared more than the action, and that surprised them, especially with the demographic who was jumping to see a Godzilla movie. They're expecting to just get a giant monster action fest, and that's what they were there for that kind of fun. And they got something in which they like actually got a gut punch from. And they felt something, people were like, wow, I felt something at a Godzilla movie. What the heck? And I want to actually, make this point that this person is making even bigger, because I think they're like on the cusp of understanding the film, but I think they just need to go like one layer down further, and they will understand the film even better. Which is that Godzilla in this film is not just, typical old Godzilla is either like a metaphor for like the revenge of the environment, because plastic in the ocean, or the vengeance, the moral vengeance for the atomic bombs, or both simultaneously, right? Like something like this, or even the wrath upon the Japanese people for the horrors that they committed during World War II, right? Like some combination spectrum of that is usually what Godzilla is, right, or represents. Excuse me. In this film, he is literally none of those things at all, except maybe some of the atomic bomb bits, but that I'll save that for the review. Instead, he represents the monster within, which is a classic structure. That's old. That's very old school. And guess what we haven't seen a movie about in a very long time? A dude conquering the monster within. That's like every masculine story ever.
Wait, what do you mean by the monster within exactly?
It's like, you have some sort of character flaw. A lot of the times this is contained within a hero's journey. In this case, this is not a hero's journey. But you have some sort of character flaw, and you need to, go kill it, basically, in order to conquer some problem, right? So, what would be a good, example that's not this? So many children's movies, but none are coming to my mind. But this is a classic children's movie sort of structure. So are heroes' journeys, right? Where it's I'm selfish and I only think about myself, or something like this, right? And then something that perfectly counters your problem, right? I don't know, something crops up that requires you to not be selfish in order to defeat it, And so you become not selfish after a bunch of trial and error. Usually you mess up in ways that are so catastrophic that you cannot ignore your deficiency. And then you go ahead and you conquer your deficiency while simultaneously conquering the physical enemy in front of you, if that makes sense. So Godzilla is literally just that. Except we haven't seen that in so long. I think that's what happened. Is people were like, "Wait a second, this hits me in a place that's deep." It's I don't understand why. The reason why is because that story is so ancient and good that that it will always resonate. It will always resonate. And I think it's easy to hide that kind of structure in these big blockbuster movies when it's really a simple, nice thing underneath. You kind of hide it under this big structure, and that's how you feed people with good messages, right? In this particular case, our main character is a coward. And that's the whole thing, right? So what does he have to do is he has to learn to disregard his own self in order to beat the monster, right? And that plays out in there's a whole bunch of intricate themes in there that are not just that, right? There's actually a lot of interpersonal dynamics, family dynamic stuff, the role of a husband, and there's a lot of stuff in this film that are really rich, but like also like used to exist in every blockbuster ever, like prior to like 1995, but no longer exists in our current blockbuster scene. And I think people, when they see this, are like, wait a second, this is not just action. And I that's a beautiful response to see, is people sort of vibing with it on a sort of rudimentary level because they haven't seen this kind of thing in a very long time. And guess what? Outside of the United States, people are making this stuff like crazy because it's always good. And besides that, the movie is just well made in general. So, it's not just that that's going for it. So I just want to add my 2 cents onto this person's thoughts. And that's all I got for arguing with Reddit. So if you enjoy this section, if you have your own hot takes, I see a take. I think I closed this by accident. No, where is the stupid chat? There it is. Okay. Steph says, also themes on morality, dignity of human life overall. Yeah, I mean, I could go into it. If you want me to make a episode on it, definitely let me know in the chat or in the comments section. Or just to comment, because comments really help us out very much in terms of getting videos out. But next week I will consider doing Godzilla as my review. But I agree with that. But if you have your own hot takes about Godzilla -1 or any other thing that we talked about here, or anything at all, definitely drop them in our Discord. The link is in the description to that Discord. Also consider supporting us at mixedmedia.locals.com for $3 a month right now, because I forgot to turn off the sale. So if you want to head over there really quick before I remember to turn it back on, which may happen literally right after the show ends, if I'm up to it, go to mixedmedia.locals.com, sign up for $3 a month. That's really small for helping us out with getting the show really going. So definitely head over there. If you can't support us for $3 a month, or you don't want to right now because you're not sure how our show really fits in with you, that's totally fine. If you liked anything in here, hit the like button and consider subscribing. Steph says, I'm partial to that because it'd be fun to see again. Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, maybe I'll do that. Cool. Alright, shall we go to our last segment of the night?
Sure.
Alright, so our last segment will be Mixed Media Gaming, coming up after the transition here. Here we go.
Mixed Media Gaming.
Welcome to Mixed Media Gaming. Today I'll be talking about 2023 and the games I played, a little bit of a sort of very brief sort of review of each thing, and what I'll be playing in 2024. So, yeah, before we start, thank you to our local supporters, 99 Crime, Post, Alex Egbert, and Kakaros. And yeah, we should reintroduce ourselves. If you don't know, if you're watching this for the first time, we split these segments, split this podcast into 3 segments on music, movies, and video games. So we tuned in for our last video game segment. Right, so my name is Nathan Nestor. I'm a 3D modeler and video game developer.
And my name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur based out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania. I own a company called Ariella.
Hi, my name is Ben Costello. I'm a flute player and media composer.
Nice. Actually, one thing I want to say before we start, I wanted to do a thing where I'm like, this is like a long time ago. This is before we took our Christmas holiday break. I made that 3D model. I don't remember what it was. It was the middle of I was doing it while the podcast was happening. It was a 3D model relevant to whatever we're talking about. I forgot what it was, but I wanted to do that every podcast. And so I was thinking for a long time. I was like, what the heck am I gonna make for AI music? I just couldn't figure it out. So that was simple enough, obviously there are ideas. For example, the one we saw in the generated image, but I cannot make that in the span of a podcast episode, or one segment of a podcast episode. So, yeah, I'm gonna try to do that next time, though. We'll see if. Actually, I have the topic, so I cannot do that. But I can't really dual wield like that. The responsibilities. Maybe the time after that. We'll see.
Maybe you'll make Godzilla for my segment on Godzilla.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I'm a hard surface modeler specifically, so I don't do things that are living. Animals and humans and things like that. It's a whole different skill set I do not have. So I should introduce myself with I'm Nathan Nestor. I'm a 3 hard surface modeler specifically. I don't know, but yeah. All right, yeah, let's get into it. So 2023, interesting year. It was kind of a slow year for me in terms of gaming. Gaming slowed down quite a bit. College and whatnot was a thing, so didn't have as much time as usual. I feel like this past sort of last semester and semester before of college were a little bit more than normal, so that's what happened. Also working on some other projects too in the background, so that was also that. Right, so it was kind of inspired by the Steam year in review thing that happened a few weeks ago. And yeah, I just kind of want to talk about what I played and how I feel about them. So there are I noticed a lot of unique experiences that I got this year, which kind of surprised me. I was looking at the list. I'm like, oh yeah, I did play all these really kind of innovative, unique stuff. So, for example, there was, maybe this is not quite innovative. I don't know. Depends how you feel about it. But AWR Noir, right? It's an older game, but it still feels very different than anything I played before. I think it probably was innovative for its time, and nothing else has really kind of, at least nothing I've played has followed it in its formula. It is a detective game, which is I have actually played a Sherlock Holmes game, so I have played a detective game before, and there are many mystery games I know, but they're not really the same. This mystery game focuses on dialogue specifically. There's also the aspect of searching for clues, but in my review, you can also check that out, by the way. I did a whole review on the game. You can just search Mixed Media Podcast, LA Noir. You'll probably find it. But in my review, I did mention how the searching for clues is kind of a memeable thing. It's not really like I think it's supposed to be part of the game, but it kind of falls flat quite a bit. Searching for clues is quite trivial, and so it's really all about the dialogue options that matter. And that is something that I have not seen in another game where you use the facial expressions that are motion captured and stuff like that, as well as a dialogue and context and tone of voice and things like this, nonverbal cues, in order to or is that, do you call it tone of is tone of voice? No, tone of voice is verbal cue, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so non-word
verbal and non-verbal.
Okay, wait. So tonal cues are verbal or not verbal?
Yeah, I would think so.
They are verbal.
Yeah, it's a verbal and non-verbal cues.
Okay, sure. Okay, so I guess you use the whole use verbal and non-verbal cues to determine what's going on. So that was a pretty interesting experience. Also cool to play an older game. Not that it's ancient, but I feel like I haven't played many games from that era. And also the style is unique, right? As a noir game. Never played a noir game before. So,
and if you're down to make one and you need a writer, I am totally down to help you with that project.
And composer.
There you go.
Right, yeah, we talked about this when we had that review. Yeah.
We did. Exactly. I suppose we have a developer here too, so
maybe we could just do it ourselves.
Make a little what do you call those? A vertical slice of a little game or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, good game overall, I would say. And I played it for the first time in 2023. But yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it too much since I already did before. So go and check out the review if you haven't already. Other than that, there was Noita. I might have pronounced it as Noita during the review. I don't remember. I also reviewed that game too. You can go and check that out. Mixed Media Podcast, Noita. Look that up. You'll find it. Noita is a really interesting game that it's been on my radar for like a really long time. Like it's just been there. I just had not gotten it. I hadn't gotten it for a really long time. The game came out in 2020, and from then I was like, wow, this looks pretty cool. And so the game is sort of like Kakaro's, forgive me. People will consider it a roguelike. Depends on, I suppose, what your threshold is for what a roguelike is, how similar to Rogue it has to be. So look at it. I mean, visually at least, it does not look like Rogue at all. But it does have, the common features of randomly generated world and your progress resets after every death. No persistence. And it's a pretty cool game that it's very brutal oftentimes. It can be very random in terms of its difficulty. But I actually haven't beaten it yet. But I kind of have stopped. I haven't played it in quite a bit of time, so I'll have to get back on that now. But yeah, it's overwhelmingly positive reviews. And the developer I just found out is called Noita Games, which is interesting. I suppose that's their It is their only title. I just, I never heard of a developer naming themselves after the first game. Well, there's Unreal. Well, Unreal Tournament's not named after the developer, is it? No, not technically not. She's named after some technology. So that is certainly interesting. But yeah, Noida was a good game, and I'm glad to have played that this year finally. Aside from that, there was BattleBit Remastered, which was sort of like a. I did I do a review of that as well?
Yes, you
I
did.
might have. Oh man, yeah, check out these reviews. Irving was right. We really do have a topic for everything at this point. When I was writing down the notes, I straight up just forgot that I reviewed those 2 games. So yeah, Mixed Media Podcast, BattleBit Remastered. Look that up. You'll find it. So I suppose I'll be reading with this as well, actually. BattleBit Remastered is a clearly inspired by Battlefield in many ways, although it is definitely a different experience. I wouldn't really compare them as, like, oh, would you rather play this game or this game? Yeah, I mean, you might prefer one game over the other, but they don't fit like the exact same category, right? It's not like BattleBit Remastered is trying to replace Battlefield or something like that. It's not a Battlefield killer, certainly not trying to be anything like that. But it brings destruction to back to a Battlefield-like game, which is always fun. Destruction, and I actually talked about destruction in our last episode, I think, when I was talking about the finals briefly. Yeah, it's basically everything you can destroy in that game, so that's fun. I would say it's one of those games that is a lot better with friends, though. I think that after you play for some time, it gets a little bit boring over time. And also, I noticed that the community culture has changed in a kind of a bad way. So one of the cool parts about the game was that there was proximity chat that was enabled. Well, I feel like it was strongly encouraged that you enable it. I think it asks you when you start the game. I think is like, do you want to have proximity chat enabled? I think it does at the beginning. And basically, what happens is when you die, people can hear you as long as they're around you. So if you're giving like comments to your teammate or whatever, they can hear that temporarily, like a little bit, for maybe 5 seconds or something like that, maybe a little less. Or you can hear someone like just screaming or something like that, like, oh man, like get like visceral reactions from people as you kill them or whatever, from teammates, whatever it is. Aside from just the forced proximity chat while you're when you die or whatever. There's also proximity chat. You can just push the talk while you're playing and communicate with teammates. And the unfortunate thing is that I feel like as I played over time, the amount of people with proximity chat enabled or with microphones or something has decreased. So you don't really get those moments anymore very often. It's a lot more of a dry experience because I feel like that was really like, I don't know, it's such a big part of it for me when I started playing it. I thought it was really entertaining and funny. So without that, the game becomes a lot more generic, I suppose. But not bad for sure. So, yeah, unfortunately. Oh, actually, Kairos did ask. This is during our last chat when we were doing our sort of general talk. Kairos asked about games that I felt that I felt differently about in different playthroughs or something like that. And BattleBit Remastered isn't a game that has distinct playthroughs, right? It's not like it's no campaign. You can't play through it once, right? It's a multiplayer game only, and so. It's not quite the same, I guess, as a playthrough, but I would say that my experience with the game has changed over time significantly because of that. So, yeah, there's that. Aside from BattleBit Remastered, we have Omega Strikers. I think I reviewed that as well, didn't I? Did I review
Yes,
that?
you did.
Oh my goodness, I'm on a roll here.
Yo, Kai's in the chat. Sup, Kai?
Hey. So, wow, we're at 4 for 4 here right now, actually. Omega Strikers is a game that also came out this year and I played this year. Or actually, it might have been in. I feel like it had an extended beta, but I could be wrong. Could be confusing it with another game. I feel like a friend told me that he played it like a long time ago or something like that, but it might be a different game I'm thinking of. Omega Strikers is an interesting take on the. I suppose like almost like I don't really know what sort of category I would fit in. It is technically a sports game, I suppose. In what do you call it? Video Game Wars terms, it's a sports/racing game, whatever that means. So that's kind of the most defined category I can put it into because it's a pretty unique experience. It's a 3-on-3 sort of top-down sports game. It reminds me of this game called it's a really old browser game. It was like a hockey mixed with football type game. I can't remember what it's called. Man, I can't remember, but yeah, it reminds me in the sense that that's like just the top-down sports ball nature of it, I guess. And it's kind of hockey-like, I guess, where you have a puck that you're trying to get into the net, and you use somewhat violent means to get it there. So, yeah, various characters have, for example, one character has a giant fist that can like punch you, for example, or whatever. So, yeah, that's one method of shooting the goal or disabling teammates. It's a MOBA. That's what it is. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a MOBA. So it's a MOBA sports game, which is pretty interesting. It plays kind of like Battle Right in a way, in the fact that it feels more fast-paced than something like, well, I suppose League is fast-paced oftentimes, but I feel like it's more in bursts rather than in Battle Right where it's a lot more consistently paced. And I think the same is true with Mega Strikers. It's a lot more consistently paced. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's faster paced than League of Legends, but it's just that like in League in certain moments it gets crazy, but in certain moments nothing really happening. You're kind of walking. So yeah, that's what Mega Strikers. Yomi Hustle. I did review this as well, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
So.
Yeah,
5 for 5. Let's go. Another unique experience, actually. Yomi Hustle is actually one of my top 5 games of all time. It's on that list. Played that this year. Yomi Hustle is a turn-based fighting game. How does that work? Well, you can go watch the review. Makes me a podcast. Yomi Hustle, or Your Only Move is Hustle. I don't know what we titled it, but yeah, just look it up. You probably get it either way. I'm sure YouTube will figure it out, But yeah, that was a great game. I played that before it was on Steam, actually. I don't know if I technically played it in 2022 then. No, I think No, I think I played it for the first time this year on itch. It was free to play on itch, and then I bought it on Steam when I moved to Steam. It added the robot character, so yeah, it's a pretty good game. I feel like I can't really say much about it without like explaining everything about it. So just go watch the review. It's a good game. Aside from Yomi Hustle, there is Operation Harsh Doorstop. I don't think I reviewed that. Did I? Did I? Maybe. I talked about it for sure. I know I talked about it. I don't know if I reviewed it though. Operation Harsh Doorstop is a game created by Blue Drake 42.
I think you did.
No way. Wait, I gotta
I'm
look this up
pretty
now.
sure you did. Yeah, it sounds very familiar. I just can't remember what the game actually is.
Yeah, it sounds too familiar for you to just like mention it in passing.
Yeah,
I did review it. Yeah, I found it 9 months ago. Wow. Okay. Operation Hearthstone. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So well, actually, we're 6 for 6 now. Yeah, 6 for 6. Operation Hearthstone Stop. That is a game created by the YouTuber Blue Drake 42, quite the popular YouTuber. He's about 1 million subscribers. I think a little less at this point. He has been in the game for like a decade now, but he's not known for being a developer. He's known for being a video game commentator. He makes these sometimes relatively short videos, sort of going over some games, being like, here's a cool game that features this thing and this new technology, or look at this new trailer for this game. Isn't this cool? It's kind of it tends to not be gameplay videos per se, but just sort of commentating about some game. It's more about what he says and not about like the thing on the screen. If you get what I'm saying, mm-hmm. His specific gameplay or whatever. It's not like a cracked gamer or something like that. We don't watch it for that. just for what he has to say, and highlighting just interesting things, in general. So you can kind of think of him as almost like a almost kind of like a news. I feel like this is a weird way to categorize him, but I think almost like a video game news channel in a way. Although I don't know if he would describe himself like that. I don't think many people would, because his style is definitely far from it. So, yeah. But he founded this company called Drakeling Labs, and I think they made a couple games. I think they made 2 games before, or 1 game before, or something. I had never played them, and I don't really know anything about them. So, but he released Operation Harsh Doorstop, which I dislike as a name. I think it's a poor choice. It's long. It doesn't roll off the tongue well at all, but it also does not mean anything as far as I'm aware. So that name, but Operation Harsh Doorstop was a sort of project of his, and he wanted to make a moddable platform for FPSs. So the game is completely free, despite him having put money into the whole thing. And he created a spin-off from it. I forget what it was called that you had to pay for. It was sort of more of a fully fledged, sort of a demo of what you could do with Operation Harsh Doorstop, right? Or less of a demo, but actually just using the tool, right? Using it as a platform and building off of it and creating something. I think that that game was also supposed to fund the development of Operation Harsh Doorstop. Geez, that's a horrible name to say. Operation Harsh Doorstop in some capacity. Now, this is the only game on the list that when it came out, it didn't really do too well. I put it on my list of unique experiences because the concept is definitely unique, and I really do commend the concept of a really just a moddable platform for FPSs. That's a pretty cool idea. And I think technically, I don't know if you really. I think it's probably made more for FPSs, but I'm sure you can mod cool things like you can make a MOBA out of it. The modding community is crazy. That's how we got Dota, right? It's like absolutely crazy. So, I'm sure you can do crazy stuff with it, but it didn't really release to great reviews. One issue was cheaters, because there was no anti-cheat that came with it. And Blue Drake essentially said that there would be an anti-cheat that's coming, but they didn't launch with it. The reason being is that anti-cheat is not... It's not a good long-term solution, is what he's saying, is that people will just crack it anyway. It'll just take longer, but people will just figure it out anyways, and then they'll start cheating. Now, I think at the time I agreed with him, but in hindsight, I don't know about that. Because yes, it is true that basically every game has cheaters in it. Can't really avoid it. There are certain things that are just like you just have to deal with it, right? Specifically on PC, I suppose on Xbox. Although there was talk about those Call of Duty cheats that used I think they used AI to detect where people were or something like that, and controlled the input or whatever. But anyways. Aside from that, I guess there are always going to be cheaters everywhere, right? Now, he is right that anti-cheat always gets cracked pretty much. But the thing that he gets wrong is that it does help mitigate very simplistic cheats. So, for example, if you have a cheat where someone is just flying around in an FPS game where that should not be possible, you can do very simple server checks to see if that should be possible. It's should this person be 100 meters in the air? No, that should be physically impossible. There's no state, nothing you could do in the game that should let you do that, right? The game did not launch with flying vehicles, so that even then it should not be possible. You can checks everyone in the match died at once, and they all died by the same person. Is it physically possible for 32 people or whatever to lose to one person in the span of 5 seconds? No, not possible. Very simple stuff like this can flag for suspicious behavior. So they didn't have anything like that. And also, you saying was that it's kind of like in other games where the servers come up with their own anti-cheat. I forget what examples he gave, but there are certain games where basically the anti-cheat for the game isn't enough anyway, so the servers have to either implement their own anti-cheat on top of it. That are very specific to their servers. Or especially in a game where it's made to be very varied, right? There's to be a lot of different types of servers, different mods on them, and stuff like that. Very different experiences. So you might want to build your own anti-cheat specific to that. And also, he talked about a lot of games just rely on administrators and moderators. People just have to be on the server and just people report players or whatever, and someone checks the logs. It's okay, is this something weird happened or not? For example, I remember this kind of vividly because I had a bad experience with the moderator. It was unturned. I haven't played that in forever. When I did play that, all the servers were there might have been I'm pretty sure he uses BattleEye anti-cheat, but a lot of it was just moderators, as moderators moderating things. So yeah. Now I see that on Steam. I haven't played Operation Harsh Doorstop in forever. I see on Steam now though that that it actually has positive reviews. It had mixed before, so apparently something good's happening. And I had kind of assumed when I stopped playing it that it was just going to be a dead in the water type situation. But I went to Blue Drake's channel, and actually he released a video on it 6 days ago, and one 12 days ago. So it seems like it's actually just something that's still ongoing, and I kind of want to check out the project again and see where it's at. Because, once again, it's a cool project for sure. So, yeah, that is Operation Harsh Doorstop. And those are the 6 unique experiences, I'd say, that I had. There were some other games that I played for the first time in 2023. One of them I thought was hilarious was Wizard 101. I don't know if you guys remember the commercials for that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I played it one time. I played it one session, it says.
Wait, hold on. Kai had a question and said, what game is this?
Oh, Operation Harsh Doorstop is the game. Yeah, the name's bad, but that is the game. So, but Wizard 101, it's not good. That's my consensus. Also, not that unique. Also, I don't know how they had the money to advertise that much back in the day. It was crazy. I don't know if I still do. I don't watch TV anymore. But it was like every moment, I feel like, every day, they were like, I played Wizard 101. I guess it worked on me 10 years later. I was like, let's see what this is. Not good. So I'm not even going to talk about it. I played Naraka Blade Point as well, first time this year. It's not that unique of an experience. Not going to talk about it. So, yeah. Aside from that, I played some sort of... some older games. So I played Verdun last year. Verdun is a game that goes way back for me because I think I mentioned this last podcast episode too, that I played it when I was on Congregate.com back probably when I was in middle school, I want to say. So that was like 7 years ago, at minimum, 7 years ago, right? Wait, no, that's not how math works. Wait, that is how math works. That's not how math works. No, wait, 4, 8... No, sorry, minimum 10 years ago. Wow, okay. Minimum 10 years ago, I played that game. It used to be a browser game back in the day. It used to be free, and they moved it to... It's one of the very, 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 very few successful games that moved from Congregate.com to Steam that went from free to pay that was successful. That was a very rare thing to happen. You see it all the time. Not all the time. You see it, unfortunately, too frequently, where games would go from Congregate to Steam. It would always be 3D FPSs for some reason, and then they would die. So there was a Ballistic Overkill. There was Red Crucible. Also, both of these names got renamed. I don't know if that's like a trend, but so on Congregate it's called Ballistic, and then on Steam it's called Ballistic Overkill. On Congregate is called Red Crucible. On Steam is called Red Crucible Firestorm, I think. I think there's also multiple Red Crucibles now or something. I don't know, but the game kind of died. There was... I can't remember what it's called. There's like this like futuristic like FPS. It was I think it advertised itself as a MOBA in a way, but not a MOBA or not in a MOBA in the way of League of Legends, but the MOBA in the way of Super MNC, if anyone's ever heard of that. Which I think also moved from... I think that also was a browser game and moved to Steam. I don't know if that was successful though. I don't know. But anyways, Verdun was one of the few that actually managed to do it. Maybe gave other people false confidence in their abilities to do it, because it's a very successful game. Nowadays, not many people play it anymore. You'll still find full servers, but you won't find that many. Fun fact: Verdun, they had 2 developers at the start. They had M2H and they had Blackmill Games. M2H was the first and only video game developer I've ever applied for a job for, and that was that. I think I was actually in high school when I did that. They didn't respond to me, so unfortunate. But they're also based in Europe, but they said you have to speak English only. I was like, oh, okay. And it's remote. I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. Certainly. So that was that. Verdun is definitely, I would say, one of my favorite games, one of my favorite FPSs for sure. So yeah, I replayed that, and that was a good time. I also played Counter-Strike 2. So I used to play Counter-Strike a lot back in the day. Also probably middle school and maybe a little bit, actually mostly middle school. I know that for sure. Counter-Strike is like my sixth most played game or something like that, and I haven't played it frequently in years. So that tells you something, how much I played it back then. Counter-Strike 2 came out, and so I played that. I think I played it literally twice, and I thought, yeah, I still don't like this game. The reason why I played so many hours of it, but despite not liking it, I think I did actually like it at the start of it. I think it's just mostly just fatigue. I kind of got bored of it after playing for so long. And also, playing modded with friends was probably the best experience. I don't really have many friends who play Counter-Strike anymore, so just kind of phased out of that. I also played Crossout. Crossout is it was a game that became popular back when like vehicle building games were popular, vehicle building combat. So From the Depths and Robocraft and Gear Up and games like that. Crossout is still popular, actually. It's managed to survive the tests of time, which is pretty impressive. It has a different model than a lot of other games, though. It's very it's very live servicey, I suppose. There's just always a lot of new content that comes out. So yeah, I assume it's slowed down in recent times. Since Crossout's kind of an older game at this point. But yeah, Crossout is still going strong. And I played that, and honestly, maybe I'll do a full review of that game. But it's not as good as I remember. I'll say that. So actually, Kikaros is another one. Not quite as good the second time I played it. I think there's a lot of imbalance to the game that I find. It's very zero-summy. So it's like, if you start losing immediately, it's over. It's like, you already know. It's like, why am I even playing this game anymore? It's like, you lose two members of your team, and there's no respawns, and it's like, I guess we lost, so we're just playing the rest of this for no reason. So yeah. And then there is, I also played Rocket League. It's another game that I've been playing for quite a bit. Stopped playing Rocket League, started playing again, and man, it's kind of depressing how much your skill declines from not playing a game. So it's like, man, it's tough. I'm trying to, it's like, I don't know. Rocket League was a game where I felt like I was oddly naturally just good at it because I got pretty good in like the relatively short period of time I played it. It's currently my most played game ever, actually. I have 400 and some hours on that game, which is actually kind of insane. But yeah, I will say I quite enjoyed that. It's also one of my top 5 games of all time, so there you go. I don't imagine I'll stop playing that anytime soon. Although I just don't play it very frequently at all nowadays. But always fun to revisit. And there are also more forever games that I play, like Brawlhalla and Paladins, where it's like every once in a while I gotta play it, I gotta break it out every once in a while, like for old time's sake. Yeah, Brawlhalla is actually also top 5 game, not top 5 best games, top 5 like most played by hours. I forget what it is. Probably should have backlogged and see what it is, but backlog is not updated, by the way. For like it's like back when I made it is like what the hours are at. So it's not top 5. It's oh wait, I'm sorted by user rating. Time played. It's 3. It's 286 hours. So there you go. They added a bunch of new characters and stuff, which I thought they would stop because I thought it was like there's a lot of different characters, a lot of different. I thought they were done, but no, they're still going. So yeah, fun game. Paladin's also pretty fun, even though people meme on it all the time. Same with Brawlhalla. Both memed on for being like free to play versions of games that are like paid. So people are like, oh, Brawlhalla is like Smash. It's entirely different. Not even close. Okay. Yeah, I feel like the skill set required for Smash and Brawlhalla are just different. And people compare Paladins and Overwatch, also pretty different. Although I would say more similar probably than Brawlhalla and Smash. So yeah, those are some of the games I played that I thought were worth mentioning. And to come in 2024, it's already looking pretty good. I played Isanzo, as I mentioned, with Irving, which is kind of like Isanzo is the 3rd, I believe, game in the World War I series, which is what the game series that is in is called. Verdun is the first one. Tannenberg is the second one. So Verdun focused on the Western Front, so of World War I. So the French, German, Italian border. Wait, so that's World War II. Sorry, that is the wrong border. French, German. Well, actually, no, it's still French, German, Italian. It's just in my brain the sides were different. That's of Italy. That's what I was thinking of. But that is that's the Western Front, and then Tannenberg did the Eastern Front. So that was Russia against Austria, Hungary, and Germany. And then now there is Isanzo, which is the Italian front, which I guess is like the Central Front. I don't know. Italy against Germany and Austria, Hungary. So yeah, certainly interesting to see. Sort of like, I remember when Tannenberg came out, I thought, wow, like why don't games like this exist in this setting? Like there's just there are not many Eastern Front games, either in World War I or World War II, really. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, Eastern as in European East, not like Japan. So there are plenty of those games. Isanzo also even more interesting. World War I Italian front. I can't think of a game like that. I'm sure some exist, but I can't think of any. So yeah. Also, sort of in the vein of BattleBit Remastered Destruction, played the Finals as well.
Was that not last year?
I thought so, but it's not on my Steam thing for playing last year. I thought so too, actually. I guess I'm just wrong. It's possible that it came out last year, and then I played it for the first time this year. I'm not entirely sure. But I guess I only played it for the first time this year. No, there's no way, right? No, I know what happened. The Steam thing comes out at the end of the year, but not like literally New Year's Eve. So I must have played it when it came out and New Year's Eve. So I was thinking like, I played it. I mentioned it during last podcast, and that was on the 2nd. I'm sure I played it like decently before the 2nd. So it must have just been that. Okay, well I played that this year. Okay. Wow, I should have mentioned that earlier then. But yeah, the finals is a pretty good game. I will definitely do a review on that. I didn't want to do that today because I wanted more time to do like a proper review of it. I think I'm gonna play it a little bit more before I review it as well. I haven't played any of the tournament game mode yet, so I kind of want to try that out before reviewing it. I think that's probably a integral part of the game, so something I should do. And also, I bought this last year actually. Well, I guess I am talking about last year. I bought the Metroidvania Humble Bundle, so I'll be playing. I downloaded Hollow Knight a couple of days ago. I haven't played it yet, but I will be playing it very soon. So, yeah, that is my 2023 in review and my 2024 like preview, I guess.
Cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have like a favorite?
Favorite of 2023?
Mm-hmm.
I think the game that got me the most, what's the word for it? Maybe engaged was probably AWR, actually. I just thought it was so interesting. I don't know, though, if it was the best game. Well, Yomi Hustle would probably be my top, actually, for 2023. Yeah, Yomi Hustle would be on top of 2023 for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Kai says Hollow Knight, then Hollow Knight, let's go.
We'll see if it appears on the 2024 Mixed Media Wrapped.
Mixed Media Wrapped. Yes. For sure. Cool. Well, I think that's it for the show. So you want to take us out?
Sure. Thank you for watching the show. If you want to support us on Logos, remember it's $3 a month. We're on that holiday sale currently, so Black Friday sale currently. So yeah, go to mixedmediapodcast.locals.com, or is it mixedmedia.locals.com?
Mixedmedia.locals.com.
Okay, mixedmedia.locals.com, or go to mixedmediapodcast.com. You'll find our links to everything everywhere. You'll find our links to not everything everywhere. You'll find our links to
everything everywhere all at once, right?
That is true. You will find everything everywhere all at once. Right there.
You'll find our links to everything there is what I really try to say. So yeah. Once again, wait, Aries, I think I shouted out do we shout out people again at the end? I forget. The Logos Warriors? Do we do that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Shout out to Post Kairos 99 Crime, Alex Egbert, supporting the podcast for $5 a month. So, yeah, with that, thanks for watching.
Yep, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching and listening.
Look, tell a man no trouble. I don't want beef, man. I just want vibes. Big man like me, no need for the telephone hype. I got too much getting online. One rule, then dead I'm on site. Wrong move, I bet they gon' ride. No need for the telephone hype, nah. No need for the snoozing. Big whip outside, I'm cruising. Big stick inside, no losing. Better watch out for the snake and Judas is. Don't ask them who this is. I bet they know what I'm moving in. I bet I show it into a dim. How you hate and then lose again? How you hating my vibes? Why you wasting my time? Getting hype on my line. Tell a man I don't want feedback, I just want relax. Brand new whip, two-tone, I need that brand new hit. You know, like lean back, brand new bits I live in. We back, man, you never gon' like us. Get them on sight now, let them on light. That way they know I'm more righteous. Look at my life, I'm living alright. I'm nice, you know I'm alright. Cause looking like Christ, no need for the hype or fight or telephone vipers. No need